So you want to sue somebody for police brutality? Fuck you. Fuck you. This is a greater protection for the city to injure you. That's what Section 6.4 is, not elected. You're going to sit there and try to tell me that you believe in popular democracy, you believe in popular elections, but you don't want any other position but the mayor to be popularly elected. That's all you want. She doesn't believe in popular democracy as a principle. She only thinks the mayor should be elected. She don't give a shit if anybody else is elected. She just doesn't believe in popular democracy as a principle. Gardasar had a better answer, but Lexi kind of showed, her ass on that. They think that Pueblo is so goddamn stupid that only one person, we only are smart enough to vote for one person. We can't vote for our own police chief. And then since they're against voting for the... So I went to the Big Daddy Strange event last night. So Big Daddy Strange, you had Nick Gardasar, you had Elizabeth, Lexi, you had two females, I'm not for sure their first and last names, and then you had Professor Colette being the moderator, and then you had about 10 to 15 people in the audience, and then this was also recorded for public access. I don't have public access. The way I'm going to start, it's right now with these candidates, I don't know who the fuck believes what the fuck, and if you got to meet me. You got to meet me where I'm at. So if you keep on going to all these expensive luncheons, I think that you only give a shit about the rich. And that's what I heard last night. I heard last night in the Pueblo Community College that the only things that they're going to give a shit about is the Chamber of Commerce and businesses. They don't care about regular folks. They don't care about employees. They only care about small businesses, and answer all of my questions, so I was happy about that. They were poised and polished. Essentially, what it feels like Nick Gardasar and this little group created this strong merit thing, and they only care about that. They only care about their idea, and they care about their little group. And sociology says that you define yourself by the groups that you're in. So this isn't, this isn't hyperbole. This is exact. They care about each other. They care about themselves. When the question was asked, would any of them run for mayor, only one of them said absolutely no. Lexi said, no, I will not run for mayor. That's really good. Because if you have greater ambitions, well, hell, maybe you're just forming this stupid-ass fucking charter. Maybe you're raping the shit out of our beloved and precious 1954 charter just so you can get some power. I don't want that. You just want to get some fucking power? How about write the rules to the game to where it's fair for everybody? One lady who was at the forum, and she had asked the League of Women Voters Forum, and she had asked about the police and their times for getting burglaries, not in progress, but afterwards. So a burglary happens, the people got the shit, they're out of the way, they're gone. Well, there's lots that you could do, right? You can canvass the neighborhood, you can ask questions, you can fingerprint. But the lady said that the police here in town didn't give a shit. If it was a burglary in process, yeah, if there's some violent drunken thug, they love to kick their ass. But when it comes to an actual criminal who is stealing shit, a home invasion, one of the worst, stealing crimes that there is, someone who come into your house, and in Colorado, we got castle law, so they were risking their entire life, right? But the police weren't going after these houses that had already been burglarized. Well, we need police that's going to go after the burglars. Even though they answered all three of my questions. One of my main questions was about Section 6.4. Section 6.4, they add this sentence, or by a city employee acting within the course of employment. So this has to do with immunity. He says this has to do with an immunity clause. Immunity is used for the police. Police kicks the shit out of your children, well, they get to declare immunity because they work for the state, and fuck you. They're not here to protect and serve you. They're here to protect and serve the politicians. They're here to protect and serve the 1%. And the business owners, not regular individuals, not the residents, and definitely not working-class families. Not working-class families, not unions. They don't give a shit about working-class families and unions. It's all about the businesses, and it's about their businesses. It's probably the merchants on Union Avenue who bitched about Barack Obama being here. So, I don't like Big Daddy Strange. I think Big Daddy Strange is a... Section 6-4 before covered the public who are injured on a street, avenue, alley, sidewalk, public place, or way. But city employees were never mentioned. No person was ever mentioned. So if you slip and fall on the sidewalk, you're supposed to write a letter to the city. But if you don't write that letter to the city, you don't get any money. You don't get anything. If you get your ass kicked by the cops, you don't get anything. This is immunity. This is immunity. Before, I thought it was the finance department or, city employees, right? It could be anybody. If the clerk is in the course of her duties and she injures you, this gives her protection. So I had called it the Finance Mafia Act. The director of finance is the one who signs the checks, at least under Big Daddy Strange. It's going to be not Big Daddy Strange. It's going to be the finance director. City manager can sign the checks, but for some reason, they're taking the signing of the checks away from Big Daddy Strange. Language that was added to Section 6.4, and there's 70 different amendments, 10-page document. This is a skinny charter. They're changing the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. They're changing all three branches of government. The entire form of government is going to be changed, but they don't believe in popular election. They're not doing it because they believe that the public officials should be ran, they should run, and people should vote for them. Just why is the police chief not popularly elected? You know, the people who believe in strong mayor, they keep saying, well, we need to vote for this person to hold them accountable, and we believe in democracy, so we need to elect the chief executive. Okay, if you go back to the school council, right, student council, any of the student groups, when I was growing up in high school, there was always 4 different student council groups in high school and middle school. You got to have a president, vice president, treasurer, and the secretary. Those are the 4 core key groups for any student group that is there, and they're elected. All 4 of them have to be elected. But if you're part of the city and you're the treasurer, a.k.a. the finance director, you're appointed, not elected. If you're the secretary, the city clerk, you're not elected. If you're the vice president, the deputy mayor, or city manager, you're not elected. You're going to sit there and try to tell me that you believe in popular democracy, you believe in popular elections, but you don't want any other position but the mayor to be popularly elected. That's all you want. Pueblo is so stupid. Is that what they're saying? They think that Pueblo is so goddamn stupid that only one person, we only are smart enough to vote for one person. We can't vote for our own police chief. And then since they're against voting for the police chief, is Lexi going to advocate to stop the sheriff from being elected? Does the sheriff being elected piss the fuck off of Lexi? Is she so pissed off about this? By them saying that they didn't give a shit if the police chief was elected just proves to me that they did not believe in popular democracy as a principle. They didn't believe in popular democracy as a principle. They don't just believe in we should elect people and that's how it should be held accountable. They like their own stupid fucking idea. They got together, they come up with this dumb shit, and they like themselves, so they're just going to say how great the thing is. They're circling the wagons right now. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're not going to level with you. They've already written the damn thing, and now this is just them going out and promoting it. So they're not going to change shit, and this is the problem. If they had a charter convention, then they would have brought in new people and other people, not just their little clique, not just their little Chamber of Commerce clique. The language was incompatible. The new language was incompatible with the old language, and then they didn't explain it. But Nick Gardasar did explain it last night. So I was wondering, why are we protected, right? If there's a member of the public and they slip on the sidewalk, they got to write this letter within 2 weeks or some shit, okay? And they don't even tell us when they're supposed to write the letter, so they're obfuscating the issue. They're not telling us the things that we need to know, so they're obfuscating the issue. You know, here you have street, avenue, alley, sidewalk, public place, or way. So if you slip and fall, you're supposed to write a letter within a week or 2. They don't tell us. They just said, look at the state laws. So that's bullshit. Tell me every goddamn thing I need to know. If I got injured on a sidewalk, I don't know how. I've read the charter. I've read their new charter, and I have no idea how long it would take in order for me to write this letter and, you know, sue them for whatever, slipping on the sidewalk or whatever. I thought that this was to protect like a landscaper who may have knocked over somebody's flower pot, right? You're a parks and rec person and you ran over somebody's purse or some shit. So now they are going to be held to account, and in order to get, in order to sue, this is the proper procedure. But that's what I was wondering. I was thinking that it was a landscaper, but then I started to think, well, shit, police are city employees. And perhaps this edition is a way to trip somebody up who is suing the police for brutality. So you want to sue somebody for police brutality? Fuck you. Fuck you. This is a greater protection for the city to injure you. That's what Section 6.4 is. So this is section 6.4. They're adding this section. They don't believe that the police should be popularly elected, but they should be defended. They all should be elected. I think the police chief, the fire chief, the finance director, we got 15 different departments. We got, stormwater department, wastewater department, information technology department. So all these departments, I think, should be elected. And no, that isn't the commission style of government. Colette Carter continues to lie. She says that in 1911 we had a commission form of government. Commission form of government is just when the executive and the legislative branch combine. You want to see, hey, Colette Carter, you want to see what it looks like, a commission style government looks like? Every Monday and every Wednesday, go to the courthouse because our county commissioners run a commission style of government. We got 3 county commissioners, and there is no head executive. They're all the executive, and they're all the legislative branch. So for her to sit there and say that's what a commission style of government is, maybe some of them are, but not today, not in question. If they were interested in running for mayor, and Elizabeth and Nick seemed to indicate that they both could. Elizabeth was being real flirty, almost as if like definitely she was going to run. And then Nick said that that's an impossible question to answer. I guess if you're going to run for mayor, yeah, it would be an impossible answer. Because if you truly just believe that the form of government was wrong and you want a fair form of government, well, what's up with these? I guess it's not bad to have ambition, but if you're writing the rules to the game, if you want to play in that game, then you may write the rules to where it favors you. And that's the thing. That's the biggest thing, because if this thing gets elected, then that would put Nick Gardasar, Elizabeth, and Lexi, and all the people in their group, this Chamber of Commerce loving, big business group, not the democracy, not the working families group, not the union. They didn't talk about the unions. They didn't talk about regular people. They just talked about protected businesses, not houses, right? When they asked would they run for mayor, Lexi said she absolutely wouldn't, and that's a good answer. So I liked when Lexi said that right out. She's not going to run for mayor. Thank you, Lexi. That makes me trust that when you construct the rules to the game, that you're not doing it for your own personal ambition. You're not doing it so you could get a position. You just, believe that these rules are fairer than what they used to be. Now, there is other things that had kind of had annoyed me, but essentially, let's assume that Big Daddy Strange gets passed, okay? So now what happens? Well, Nick Gardasar is going to be the man. Nick Gardasar just changed the entire fucking government, the entire form of government. So Nick Gardasar is probably he's going to be the front runner for the mayor. He will be the next mayor. So that's what you're saying. Essentially, you want Nick Gardasar to be the mayor. And, he's a nice man and all, but I don't like how they did this strange mayor thing. They're changing the rules, and they're pretending like it's not for him. They're not paving the way for Nick Gardasar to be. Lexi said that she wasn't going to run for mayor. She also said that in her group, there was a lot of good people that could be mayor. Is that it? Is that the only people that could be mayor? The people that's in your all's fucking group? So in this group of what? Maybe 100 people, maybe 50, maybe 10, maybe 5, maybe there's 3 people, maybe that's the whole group. So in this group that had formed the strange mayor, that had this charter convention, that's been doing this charter convention, this skinny charter that's going to change fundamentally the form of government, they come up with this 10-page, 70-amendment document that they're shoving down your throat. And she says that, well, there's some people in our group that would be great mayors. Really? Well, I don't want anybody in your group to be mayor. I don't want a fucking mayor whatsoever. The city manager is just as strong for the chief executive. If you were to go to the city council and ask who is in charge, it's the city fucking manager. The city fucking manager is the chief executive. Regardless of what happens, let's assume Big Daddy Strange, is passed and Gardasar jumps up there, but he doesn't win. He doesn't become the next mayor. That's okay. If he doesn't become the next mayor will be dependent upon his guidance. So the election of Big Daddy Strange will put this committee front and center. Gardasar is the front man. Gardasar will become Pueblo City's main legal god, spiritually, philosophically. And the next mayor, if he's not the next mayor will have to talk to Nick Gardasar to know what the fuck is going on. What other secret little provisions did you put in? You put a secret provision in Section 6-4? How many other secret provisions are in there? And how come you don't have an explanation for every single one of those changes? Why'd you change that? 6-4, we need to give greater protections for city employees who injure the public. Why is that important for Nick Gardasar and Lexi and all the rest of them? So the city employees can injure us? Exactly what Section 6.4 is. It gives permission, it gives greater protections for city employees who want to injure the public. So instead of having a popularly elected police chief, they don't believe in the democracy of the police forces. They do believe in the tyranny of the police forces. If the cop beats the shit out of your kids for no fucking reason because he was having a bad day, well, now he's got immunity. He's got immunity. He's allowed to beat the shit out of your kid. And what are you going to do about it? I guess instead of being like, oh, sorry, kid, you'd be like, why'd you do that, Billy? Little Billy, you should have said those things that you said. What, in a free country where I got freedom of speech, I wasn't allowed to say something? What kind of fucking country are you trying to create here? So he will be the philosophical legal God. You will have to go to him and ask him who in the hell, how is this charter supposed to work? You change this thing and you change that thing, and then they're just going to be like, oh, well, remember when we give immunity to the city employees? Well, we're allowed to hurt anybody we want. Lexi, she's not in favor of popular democracy as a principle. She just likes her idea, and she wants the mayor to be popularly elected. She doesn't want the secretary or the treasurer or the vice president to be elected like they did in school councils. Just the mayor, and that's it. Just the mayor, city council, whatever, right? But she's not going to stop electing the sheriff. Is she protesting the election of the sheriff? Is she so pissed off? What she said is if you wanted to get a popularly elected police chief, well, you get in a citizens group and you put the proposal on the ballot in front of city council and you just do it like we do. I don't want to be like you, Lexi. She doesn't believe in popular democracy as a principle. She only thinks the mayor should be elected. She don't give a shit if anybody else is elected. She just doesn't believe in popular democracy as a principle. Gardasar had a better answer, but Lexi kind of showed, her ass on that. Lexi said no names, so they weren't going to talk about the current administration. But you want me to change the entire form of government when you're not going to say that the current form of government is doing bad? Well, then I'm going to assume the current form of government is doing great. It's, there's peace and safety, crime is down, the water is running, the internet works, the streets are clean, the city works on a day-to-day. They have city council meetings. It's all televised. The county's not televising their meetings. So they're transparent, they're open, they're, showing the entire public what's going on. So there's a lot of things that the city is doing right. If they're going to sit there and try to be positive, well then, if the current form of government isn't the problem, why the fuck should I change the form of government? If you're going to sit there and not criticize Sam Azad, because Sam Azad hasn't done shit to anybody, Sam Azad has been a good fucking chief executive, go up to Sam Azad. He's a nice man. You want something? I mean, you got your ballot question, right? Professor Colette Carter, she rolled her eyes at that question. Should the police chief be popularly elected? Saying that it didn't have anything to do with anything. But it does. It just shows me that Colette Carter doesn't believe in popular democracy as a principle. Colette Carter is a tyrant in the classroom. She controls by 100% compliance. 100% compliance. Shut the fuck up and listen to her lies. No, fuck that. I'm so sick of tyrants trying to shove their goddamn lies down my fucking throat. No, I don't want to listen to your goddamn lies, Colette Carter. Fuck, she was nicer than what she was at the League of Women Voters. She was just so rude and disrespectful, so this is the kind of teacher that she is. When it comes to students, she's going to shit all over them. When it comes to talking to the public, they're going to say, we can't hear you. And she was rolling her eyes with that. Oh, you can't hear me? No, I can hear you. Are you trying to be heard, or are you just trying to say that you're the fucking boss and we should all listen to you? She's also wrong when she says cities don't have constitution. Not the police chief is popularly elected. This is important because who's more powerful, the mayor or the police chief? If you ask Dennis Mays, according to Dennis Mays, Mr. Judicial Branch, Mr. Chief Judge for 17 years, the man running for school board right now, if you ask Dennis Mays what he thinks about who's more powerful between the mayor and the police chief, he would say that the police work for the executive branch, but he would also admit that the mayor cannot arrest the police chief. The police chief can arrest the mayor, but the mayor cannot arrest the police chief. And this is, incredible. There's park employees that can be deputized to have police powers. So that would even mean, extend that principle on down, that if you deputize a park employee, they can arrest the mayor, but the mayor can't arrest that park employee. So while they're the chief executive, they're the head honcho, according to Dennis Mays, the police have the power to arrest. I agree with Dennis Mays' perspective, but this is the establishment. This is how the establishment has been viewing things. The cops work for the executive branch as long as the cops, are tricked. As long as they are tricked and they have to answer to the executive and the council and you make them give demonstrations and shit. But if the police chief is aware, the police chief is the one that runs the whole goddamn town. The police chief can arrest anybody that they want to. So, that's important because according to Dennis Mays, when it comes to fascist, violent, arresting power, kidnapping people, beating the shit out of them, throwing them into a fucking jail, that's only the police can do that. The mayor can't, according to Dennis Mays. So that would mean, I disagree with that, but what that means is that the police chief and the mayor are extremely fucking powerful. Some people say that the police chief's more powerful than the mayor. And if the police chief is more powerful than the mayor, how come this group doesn't want to properly elect them? Explain it to you very basic, Professor Collette, Professor Carter. So, reason why Pueblo City has constitutional standing, one, we're Americans. How do we not have constitutional standing? Just by being American. But more importantly, let's just go through the entire document. The U.S. Constitution says the 10th Amendment, anything that we don't have power over, the states do. So it was a limiting government. And then the Constitution of Colorado gives Pueblo City the permission to become a home rule city. A home rule city. A city who has state power given to it. It has state power given to it. So since the U.S. Constitution and the Colorado Constitution defends Pueblo City's home rule status, their autonomous home rule status, we are constitutionally protected. So that's another thing I want to mention was this slide towards the county, the slide towards. I have my suspicions with where these people's loyalties lie. Who are these people? Where they come from? What is their essence? What is their soul? And then who's their circle of people? Who are we going to put in power by doing this? So it feels to me like this is a slide away from home rule status. This is let's defend the county. Let's defend the county officials. The county officials, Nick Gardasar had said that the people in the county are directly related to what happens in the city. Yeah, okay, well, if you want to be a part of our goddamn political establishment, live in the fucking city. You don't live in the city, you don't get to vote and elect in our goddamn election. In fact, it was the county that was against the consolidation. You had Ortiz versus a Republican, and that Republican said, fuck the consolidation because fuck the city. These people in the county think that they're above and better than the city. The question wasn't consolidation. The question was, should we study consolidation? And the people in the county said, no, fuck that. Pueblo City is, home rule. I like that we govern ourselves. I like that we declared independence in 1911. In 1911, those progressives pushed the state of Colorado. We got home rule status here in 1911. It wasn't 1912, 1913 that the state finally caught up. So Pueblo City was on the map. Pueblo City was leading. Pueblo City was on top, and they led the entire state. So the home rule movement was being led by Pueblo City when it came to the state. So I like democracy. I like that we run our own affairs here. I like the increased autonomy and independence. I don't like how the city gives the elections to the county. I don't like how the city seems like they kiss the county's ass. You're your own municipality. You are your own jurisdiction. We have police here. So you got to be independent. You got to stand up, and you got to be a better fucking city, Pueblo City. They quit being bitches to Pueblo City to be bitches to the county. The county is being run by a commission style of government. So they keep on saying that we don't want a commission style of government because if we give the people of Pueblo City the ability to vote for the sheriff, the ability to vote for the assessor and the surveyor and the water board commissioners and the civil service commissioners, if you give the people of Pueblo City all those options, their little minds will blow up. They don't understand anything. They can't understand that which the county can do. Right? We elect our sheriff for the county. We don't elect our police chief. And they don't believe in popular democracy. They're not like, oh, that's a good point, about popular democracy. They're like, well, if that's what you believe, then you should get a petition and you should change the entire government like we did. Okay, well, what you did was illegal because you need a charter convention to change the form of government, you fucking criminal motherfuckers. Do as you do. Be criminal like you. Break the fucking law like you do. You are criminals. And they're also running away from the strong mayor term when that might be the best thing that they got going for them. Strong mayor is understandable by the layman. It's understandable by everybody. Do I want a strong mayor? Well, I don't want my mayor to be weak. So I guess I want strong mayor. But now they're running away from that term. They're sitting there saying that it's not actually a strong mayor. It's a full-time elected mayor. So they're obfuscating the issue. Is it a weak mayor now? You're saying it's not a strong mayor. So it's a weak mayor? It's a moderate mayor? What kind of mayor is this? Moderate, weak, It's a strong mayor position, and that's what's going to get them elected, but they're running away from this, which only shows me that they're circling the wagons on this, so they're not going to change anything that is as it is. They don't give a shit about your ideas. They just want to, you to listen to their fucking bullshit and to believe their bullshit. They've already made the document. They're circling the wagons right now. So, they're not doing a strong mayor. It's a strong mayor, Nick. That's what it is. You want to pretend like it's not? In conclusion, a 10-page document, 70 different amendments. This is a charter convention. They've had a private charter convention off to the side. They're not listening to the charter at all. They took section 1, 2, and they raped the shit out of it. Not only did they not have a charter convention, they're changing the form of government without a charter convention like the law states. But not only did they ignore section 1-2, they're ripping section 1-2 out. That's like a union without a strike. That's like a car without an engine. So they're taking away our home rule status. They're taking away our autonomy. This is a slippery slope to making us into an administrative unit like the county is. They're merely an administrative unit of the state. So the county of Pueblo has to do what the state tells them. Pueblo City doesn't. We get to run our own affairs except for in few instances. We have constitutional standing. Colette Carter is wrong, and so is Big Daddy. Not in favor of changes in this entire government. Here, they got the sign here. Yes on 2A, Pueblo needs a mayor. No, we don't need a fucking mayor. We got a chief executive already. We got a city manager. The city manager system is not to blame. It's the leadership. It's the public. It's the lack of civil service. It's the state and the county interfering into the city's election. This is the city's elections. The city should run their own elections, but the city allows the county to run the elections. So the city needs to step up and actually say, we fucking mean something. We're important, but we don't need a fucking mayor. No, I don't want a mayor. Pueblo needs a mayor, yes on 2A? No. Pueblo does not need a mayor. It doesn't need a mayor. We don't need a fucking mayor. We don't need a tyrant. We don't need a fucking tyrant. We need more democracy. We need to give power to the people. We don't need more tyranny. And that's what Big Daddy Strange is, a tyrant.